Hey friends, it's Tracey and Violet from Tea Time with Tracey and Violet. I just got out of the shower, so my hair's all wet, my face is all shiny, but yeah, I just had to moisturize and etc. It is, what day is it today? Tuesday? Yeah, it's about 9 o'clock in the morning. I got up before the crack of dawn, jumped on my trampoline for a while. We went for a walk, didn't we, Violet? Came back, did some stuff, and I just had my morning coffee. I'm thinking, why don't I just talk to you guys for a second? And I would have done it while I was having my coffee, but I didn't think of it, so I'm going to think of it now. I've read quite a few books last month. Well, last month I think I read 8 or 9, but so far, I think today's the 8th, and I've already read quite a few books, and I thought, well, I'm going to do one book and incorporate 3 books in it, or one video, 3 books in it, because I read this book last month after the fall. One of my goals this year is to finish all the series that I started last year before I start any new series this year, and this is one of those series. So after the fall, Inked in Lies and Dead Man Walking. Now, let me just say, so I do have videos on book 1, 2, and 3. Book 1 is, I forget what it's called, but it's with King. This is his name, King, and his girlfriend, Cress. She was an older woman. Well, I think she's like 6 years older. She's not, whatever. But she was his high school teacher. He is the son of the fallen MC's motorcycle club. He's very intellectual, but big badass kind of thing. Handsome fella, looks older than he is. And those two got together in the very first book of this series. Now, when I picked up this book last month, I didn't know, but this book is a continuation of their story. Now, throughout all of these books in this series, there's like one big story that's going on, but each book has a love connection in it. So his first book was him and Cress getting together. This book is book 4 now, when they're reintroduced into the scene. You see them throughout the other books, but not as the main love people. This one is Cress is working at a university. He was going to school but finished up like university, and he wants to be patched into the motorcycle club because his dad's the prez. He grew up in that lifestyle, and he feels like he has a lot of good information that could help the club in the business aspect and things like that. I didn't care for this book quite as much. There's a lot of things that go on in this series. There's dirty cops, there's cartel, there's drugs, there's gun running, there's sex trafficking and things like that. But this is the continuation of their story. Him trying to get patched into the club, which eventually that kind of happens. But then there's a whole lot of drama that ensues, and I don't really want to talk about that because I got other 2 books to talk about. Cress moves from her university thing. This all happens at the beginning. And her dream is to start a bookstore, which that would be awesome. But anyways, yeah. So anyways, they moved to Entrance in British Columbia. This takes place in Canada. Giana Darling's a Canadian author, so yay for that one. And Entrance in British Columbia is like where this main place of this series takes place. So anyways, that's the story. There's them coming together. His father Zeus, who is in book 2 of this, has his own story. King's sister Haley, she has her own story, which is book 3 in this, and then it goes back to King. So yeah, I would recommend it like if you're reading the whole series, but so far this is my least favorite, just because I'm just like yeah, it was more insta love, which it couldn't help but be because they've already been together for years. And there's steamy spice in this. And I don't mind that stuff, but it's just like usually when I go into a book, I like for things to not be jumping right into bed, page one kind of thing. I'm like, no, no. So my least favorite, but I would still recommend it if you're reading the series. The next book in the series is Inked in Lies, and this is bigger. This is probably the shortest book in the series, I think. This one has like 352 pages. This one, Inked in Lies, I have to say I really like this one. This one is longer, like over 500 pages. I read it this month, and I read it really fast too, like within 2 days kind of thing. There's always, 525 pages, I think, 26 pages. Inked in Lies. This has to do with Nova, Casanova, and, for crying out loud, I just read this. Lila. I like this because this had much more of a heartbreaking story in it. Now, Nova is not a blood relation to King, Zeus, or Haley. Like that's the leader, like the family of the Fallen Men Motorcycle Club. He is just a member in the Fallen Men's Motorcycle Club. And I really like this story. It's heartbreaking. It starts off years ago when he was a child. He's, I don't know, about 12. Lila is somebody that lives across the street from him, and she has an older brother named Dane, which is about the same age as Nova. His real name is Jonathan. But Lila's father is like a hardcore drug kingpin from Mexico that works with the cartel and things like that. And one day they hear gunshots across his family hears gunshots across the way. He has 3 other brothers, so it's his parents. His father is like a fisherman. His mother is a stay-at-home mom, and then there's 4 boys in the house. They hear gunshots across the way, and Lila's outside playing in the dirt and stuff like that. And that's where they first meet each other. So this is kind of an age gap. I find all the books have some sort of an age gap in it. And that's where they meet. Now, a good chunk of this, the beginning of the book anyways, has to do with them when they're younger, and then when they're teenagers, and then how he gets introduced to the Fallen Men's Club. He was just 16, I think, when he met Zeus. Zeus was at a bar. He's a graffiti artist, something like that, and he was caught tagging some motorcycle club's thing because there's a traumatic event that happens to Lila's family. Couldn't help, where the kids end up going into 2 separate foster homes, and they already had like a really strong connection with Jonathan's family. It's just heartbreaking. I found this had a really, really good story in it. There's some spice in it, but it's not all spice or anything. There's a really, really good story to this one. I would reckon this is almost my favorite in regards to story stuff. I don't mind family things, how the first few books were like with a family, but I like this one probably more than I like the first 4 books, to be honest, for the story that's in it. And then there is some steamy sex in this, which is okay with me because it's not all that. But this, certainly look up all the trigger warnings for these books. I don't find them super dark. I think these are classified as dark romance, but they're not as dark as some other books that I've read. But there is sex trafficking in this, drug abuse, things like that. So criminal activity, dirty cops, sort of stuff like that. So I would really recommend this one out of all of them so far. But yeah, I really like that one. So there. Last of the series for now. I think there's another book coming out, but I've read everything that's out so far. is Dead Man Walking. Now, I see a lot of people say this is their favorite book in the series because Priest is this guy's name. He's a crazy son of a gun. He's like the assassin or he's the guy that goes to deal with people when everything else is done, sort of thing. He's an Irishman. He's cold. He is an absolute psychopath. He is. And a lot of people like this one. And I really like this one too. I do. The woman in this, her name is Beatrice. She's the younger sister of Zeus's wife, Lulu, who they're in the second book of this series. Lulu is not very old. She's only in her early 20s. B in this book, I think she's 19, almost 20. Priest, I think, is 30 or 35, so there's quite an age gap. But she is obsessed with him. She kind of grew up her teen years in this motorcycle club because Lulu married Zeus when she was 17 and they had crappy parents. So she kind of grew up in that, but she's a really girly girl. And he doesn't pay her no mind much at all. But really, he kind of does. And it's their story. I have to say, Priest is a dirty talker, which I didn't think that I would enjoy so much. Now, in real life, don't you dare talk to me like that. But he he talks dirty in this, and I'm just like, oh, you silly, sexy Irishman. So, yeah, I have to say one thing about this. B's older sister, Lulu, who married a man that's 19 years older than her, that doesn't bother me at all, but she's after B. Lulu got on my nerves. Now, if you've read this series, you might love Lulu. Not that I didn't like her before, but I'm just like, don't step off. Don't talk to me, Lulu, about a man that I'm interested in who, you know, yes, he's a dangerous man, but you're married to the prez of this fallen MC club. Like, back off. Back off. She got on my nerves a bit. But this has a lot of spice in it. More spice than this. I don't think quite as much spice as this, maybe. But this spice was the best spice out of all the spice. In my opinion, it is. But definitely look up the trigger warnings. He will kill anybody in cold blood. He will... Yeah, he's the death dealer, and he's not one to go to like the big parties or anything like that. He's the exception to the rule when it comes to this motorcycle club. He is loyal to it, but he doesn't take part in anything. He just does what he's told when he's told to do it by Zeus only. Nobody else can tell him what to do. And yeah, B, who is a tiny waif of a little girl, 115 pounds maybe, really girly girl, pink, this and that, God-fearing, going to church, teaching youth group, all that kind of thing, goes for the bad guy of the fallen MC. So that's the love aspect in this book. But like I say, with this whole series, there's a big story in the background that trails throughout the whole thing. So I would recommend reading it in order. But if you're in it just for the relationship, you know, you could read it. You could read any of these, do whatever the heck you want. But by the time you read the first few books, you know everybody that's in this, that's mentioned in this. Like, you know who they are, you know their backstory, you know how they're involved in the story, whether they're good or bad. You even know what they look like, just because in your mind you play a whole movie. At least that's what happens to me. But I just thought I'd talk here. It's early in the morning. I've been up a lot earlier, but I just thought I'll talk about this all in one video because it's all the same group or series. So as of now, I completed one task in my yearly goal is to finish the series, all the series that I started last year before I start new series. So I still have other series to finish, but this one's off the list. I don't know when a new book's coming out. This ends off with, I can see a couple of different books. I'm not sure who the next book is going to be. It could be a couple of different pairs in there. And there'll always be somebody from the motorcycle group, or at least I would assume it is. So yeah, I'll probably get that when it comes out. I really enjoy it. It's good. It's not like my absolute favorite of all time series, but I enjoy it enough that I want to buy it and I want to read it. And it's dark, but it's not as dark as some things that I've read, so this might be super dark for some people, but it just all depends on what you've read in the past and things like that. But absolutely check trigger warnings. There's sex in it all, there's drugs, there's swearing, there's often murder. Oh, there's a pheasant out on my backyard. We threw some birdseed out there yesterday afternoon. Maybe that's what they're trying to get. Yeah, there's two. There's three pheasants. Girl pheasants. Well, that's awesome. Anyways, I'm going to end this now because the kids should be getting up soon. And I can try to get this up today. I still have oodles of books to talk about, but at least I got 3 off. So thanks for joining me today. And I'm going to say peace, love, and happiness today and every single day. Please like, share, and subscribe if you so choose. But if not, that's okay too. I still love ya. I still want all the happiness in the world for each and every one of you out there. I certainly do. I really, really honest and truly do. Yes, I do. So my lights are flashing. There must be a ghost in the house. It's all right. They're friendly ghosts. I don't mind at all. So, all right. With that, I'm going to say have a good night or have a good morning. And I might see you tomorrow. Bye. Bloop.